Hello everyone, I'm immigration attorney Christian Zeller. This is volume 4, edition 6 of the Business Immigration Reporter, and today is June 19th, 2020, and I'm broadcasting from my home office. I'm pleased to announce that starting with this edition of the Business Immigration Reporter, we are now on YouTube, and you have a choice of either reading the BIR or watching it. Now, while I'm going to continue to publish the BIR monthly, I intend to broadcast immigration law developments on YouTube as they may arise. And this will provide you with an opportunity to stay in touch and informed about immigration law developments as they happen. As always, keep in mind that immigration law is very fluid and changes constantly. And especially in times like this, whatever you hear today may no longer hold true tomorrow. So everything I'm telling you today is informational only and does not constitute legal advice. But if you require specific information about any of the topics that I'm addressing today, feel free to reach out to me at any time. So here we go. First, DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It looks like it's going to stand for now. On June 18th, yesterday, as some of you may know, the US Supreme Court, in a 5-4 ruling, held that the administration could not terminate the program for Dreamers because they failed to follow the required procedures and processes, and they failed to give proper justification before they ended the program. Now, what that means is the immigration could still pick this up again and go through the proper processes and make another attempt to cancel the DACA program. One thing, though, I found noteworthy in the decision, and I want to share that with you, and that is that 4 out of the 5 justices in the majority dismissed the argument that the administration's decision to end DACA was not motivated by discrimination against Latino people. Now, DACA has been going back and forth, and all of you know that, so I take this opportunity today to encourage our Congress to take up the long overdue immigration debate. Whatever side you're on, member of Congress, stop bashing or hailing the decision of the Supreme Court. Instead, get to work and start legislating. That's it for DACA. Next item. COVID-19 travel ban waivers. Everyone knows there's a COVID-19 travel ban, but is there actually a waiver available to circumvent the travel ban? And I'm pleased to announce, yes, there is. Many of you have asked me, how do I get around this? Well, if you have spent any time in the UK, Ireland, the Schengen area, Brazil, Iran, or the People's Republic of China in the last 14 days, or in the 14 days prior to your proposed entry to the United States, you're subject to the COVID-19 travel ban. Now, there are 2 ways on how you can get around that, or how you can manage that. 1, prior to entering the United States, you spend 14 days in a country which does not have a COVID-19 travel ban restriction with the United States. You self-quarantine in that third country for 14 days, and upon entry to the United States, you provide evidence of your travel history and self-quarantine to Customs and Border Protection. Now keep in mind, there are only, I believe at this time, only 13 international airports in the United States through which you can enter and actually do that. Alternatively, you can apply for a COVID-19 travel ban waiver. And that has to be done at the US Embassy or US Consulate that has jurisdiction over your place of residence. Now, in order to get such a waiver, you must demonstrate that the purpose of your proposed trip to the United States constitutes an emergency. Typically, those are things in the healthcare industry, or a family member is sick, but I can envision that there are business emergencies. Now, keep in mind that the determination of what may constitute an emergency is purely discretionary. It's not an entitlement. The burden of proof rests with you whether our State Department is going to grant that waiver. If in fact that waiver is granted, you can then travel to the United States, but beware, when you arrive, you will then have to irrefutably show when, how, and where you are going to self-quarantine for 14 days before you start going about your business. It's also important to note, and I want to point out, that the COVID-19 travel waiver is not a visa. If you don't have a valid visa or ESTA, such an application has to be applied for separately. And if, and only if, our State Department decides to process that, you will also have to demonstrate that the issuance of your visa or ESTA actually demonstrates an emergency. And although our embassies and consulates have entered phase 1 of reopening, please keep in mind that they do remain closed for routine visa processing. So that's it about COVID-19 and how to enter the United States. There's been things out in the grapevine that there may be a new presidential proclamation, and I want to share that with you. The last presidential proclamation, you all know about that, took effect on April 22nd, 2020, and that suspended the entry of all immigrants. And immigrants, those are the people with green cards, or new green cards in this case, who were outside the United States for 60 days with some exceptions. Now, there's talk about a possible new proclamation extending that suspension to certain non-immigrants. And non-immigrants are all people with a visa, not with a green card, with a visa. Right now, it's not clear when or if that is going to take place and what visas might be included in that. The White House grapevine has it that it might include H-1Bs, H-2Bs, J-1s, and L-1 visas. From what we understand, it would only affect non-immigrants who are outside the United States and would not affect non-immigrants who are already inside the United States. So at the time of me broadcasting today, these additional restrictions are purely political gossip, and I need you to take it as that. However, if you are outside the United States and you have one of those visas, H-1B, H-2B, L-1, J-1, it would be my advice, come back stateside now, because if that proclamation takes effect, you won't be able to come back in. And there you have it. That's your update for today. And if you have not done so already, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Attorney Zeller's Immigration TV. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time around.